أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين بارئ الخلائق أجمعين باعث الأنبياء والمرسلين، ثم الصلاة والسلام على خير خلقه العبد المؤيد والرسول المسدد حبيب إله العالمين أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد
وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين وصحابته المنتجبين. صلى الله عليك يا رسول الله، صلى الله عليك يا سيدي ويا مولاي يا أبا عبد الله، يا رحمة الله الواسعة ويا باب نجاة الأمة ويا عبرة كل مؤمن ومؤمنة يا مظلوم يا غريب يا شهيد كربلاء، يا ليتنا كنا معكم سادتي فنفوز فوزا عظيما. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. لا يتخذ المؤمنون الكافرين أولياء من دون المؤمنين، ومن يفعل ذلك فليس من الله في شيء إلا أن تتقوا منهم تقاتا. صلوا على محمد وآل محمد.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
A second for the love of Fatima al-Zahra.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
A second for the love of Rasulullah with your loudest voices.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
Imagine the two following scenarios. The first scenario, you're driving either in the United States of America or in Europe, and you get lost. You're headed towards a certain destination, and you get lost. All of a sudden, you find yourself in an area which is heavily populated by Christian extremists. For example, you're driving in the United States of America, you're driving in Florida, and you end up in an area heavily populated by the KKK, the Ku Klux Klan, a heavily extremist Christian group that are known to kill non-Christians. Of course, you don't hear much about this on the news, but it exists. And someone stops you from the KKK and they ask you, what's your religion? Are you a Muslim? Not a Muslim. Are you a Muslim? What do you say? Do you say yes? Or do you say no? Now, if you're Jackie Chan or Van Damme, you could say yes, because you can defend yourself. But if you're not, most likely your answer is going to be what? No. Why? Because if you say yes, they will definitely kill you. No question. You will definitely get barbecued that night. There's no question about it. Here, no one has an argument. No one has a debate. Whether you're a Shi'i Muslim or a Sunni Muslim, whatever school of thought you follow, here everyone agrees that it is best to say no and to hide your faith. Conceal your faith so that you protect yourself and you protect your life. This is the first scenario. The second scenario, now imagine you're driving in Iraq and all of a sudden you end up in a place called Fallujah or the city of Mosul that is occupied by whom? ISIS. And it's time to pray. You go inside a masjid to pray and you say the adhan. Are you going to say Ashhadu anna Aliyan waliyullah? Are you going to pray with your hands down or with your hands crossed? Which one? Of course, if you want to protect your life and the life of the family members with you, obviously you're not going to say the third shahada. And you're not going to pray with your hands down. And you're certainly not going to pray on a turba. Correct? And if they ask you, are you a Shia? You're definitely going to say no. But what's interesting is those who agreed to conceal their faith in the first scenario, in the second scenario, they tell you, no, why do you conceal your faith? Why don't you just say you're a Shia? Why don't you say who you are? Why are you fooling your fellow Muslims? This is hypocrisy. You see, it's the same people. In the first scenario, they hid their faith. They concealed their faith. But in the second scenario, they call you a hypocrite. Why? Because you practiced what? Taqiyya. You practiced taqiyya. What is taqiyya, my dear friends? Taqiyya literally means, in Arabic, taqiyya literally means caution, to be cautious. Ittaqi fulan means be cautious of so-and-so. Ittaqi al-bard, be cautious of the cold weather. Taqiyya means caution, literally. Islamically, it means to conceal one's faith. To conceal one's faith. And this is one of the most controversial topics in Islam. In both Sunni circles, between Sunni and Shia dialogue, and even within Shia circles, it has become an extremely controversial subject. For some Sunnis, they say that taqiyya is a form of hypocrisy. You're a hypocrite. They accuse us Shia of being hypocrites because in certain cases, in some cases, we hide our faith. Of course, taqiyya is to hide your faith, but when? To protect your life. When your life is in danger. When your family members are in danger. When your wealth is in danger. And sometimes it's not out of danger, but it's out of unity, for the sake of unity with Muslims, as we shall mention in detail. This is taqiyya. They say this is hypocrisy. When you conceal your faith, when you don't show who you are and what you believe in, this is a form of hypocrisy. While we followers of Ahlul Bayt, the majority of us, we believe that if it wasn't for taqiyya, the followers of Ahlul Bayt would have been wiped out from the face of this planet. We would have been all massacred and killed. It was because of taqiyya that the followers of Ahlul Bayt are alive today. It's because of Taqiyya that I am alive and you're alive and we're sitting here in Holland remembering the martyrdom of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This is another opinion. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad.
And there's a third opinion within the school of thought of Ahl al-Bayt today. They say that Taqiyya is a practice in Islam and in the school of thought of Ahl al-Bayt. However, it had a time limit. There was a certain time which Taqiyya was practiced. Today, Taqiyya is no longer practiced. It should no longer be practiced. Taqiyya was practiced at a time which the school of thought of Ahl al-Bayt was weak. We were a minority. People did not know who the followers of Ahl al-Bayt were. Thus we used dissimulation, Taqiyya. Today the followers of Ahl al-Bayt are everywhere. Everyone knows about our faith and our practices. We have governments. Today we control certain governments and countries. Thus there is no need for Taqiyya. Tonight, my dear brothers and sisters, which is our last night with you, and inshallah there'll be many more to come, we'd like to examine this topic, the topic of Taqiyya. Is Taqiyya permissible in Islam or no? This is number one. Is it permissible or no? Is it mentioned in the Quran? Can we argue for Taqiyya from the Quran or no? The Sahaba of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, did they practice Taqiyya or no? The Ahl al-Bayt, our Imams, did they practice Taqiyya? What is their position and view of Taqiyya? We shall examine this. This is number one. Number two, why do Shi'as practice Taqiyya? Why are Shi'as known for Taqiyya and not anyone else? The followers of Ahl al-Bayt are always associated with Taqiyya. Why? Number three, do our Sunni brothers and sisters also practice Taqiyya? Or they don't? And if they don't, why is it that they don't practice Taqiyya? What were the reasons? What were the historical reasons why Sunnis do not practice Taqiyya? Number four, is Taqiyya only practiced out of fear of danger, when your life and wealth and family members are in danger? Or there's a form of Taqiyya that is practiced for unity, for the sake of unity between Muslims? We shall examine this. And finally, number five, is today a time for Taqiyya, or the time of Taqiyya has been expired? وصلوا على محمد وآل محمد.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad.
First of all, we examine, is Taqiyya permissible? We see that people of all faiths, of all religions, of all school of thoughts, they all agree, the logical ones, they all agree that if your life is in danger, your wealth is in danger, your family members are in danger, your health is in danger, it is okay to conceal your faith. You are not rejecting your faith. You are not denouncing your Islam or your belief in the Ahl al-Bayt. You're not denouncing. The faith is still in the heart. It's not abandoning. It's not leaving your heart. Your faith remains in your heart. But all you do is reject in your tongue. That is it. All followers from all religions, from all schools of thought, from all faiths would agree that if your life is in danger, it is okay to practice Taqiyya. It is okay to conceal your faith. Grab anyone from any school of thought, from any religion. Bring a Buddhist and tell him your life is in danger. Tell him we will kill you. Are you a Buddhist? He'll say no. No, I'm not a Buddhist. Bring a Hindu. Bring a Zoroastrian. Bring a Jew. Bring a Christian. Even bring a Wahhabi. Bring a Wahhabi and put a gun to his head and tell him what is your faith. He'll start doing latam. When his faith is in danger, he might even do more than that. This is logical. This is logical. Every people People from all faiths would accept this. First, thus, our number one proof is logic. Logic. That taqiyya is permissible. Number two, the Holy Quran. We all accept the Quran. Whether you're Sunni or Shi'i or Wahhabi, we all accept the Quran. The Quran says, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. من كفر بالله من بعد إيمانه إلا من أكره وقلبه مطمئن بالإيمان. Those who have disbelief after having belief will be punished and will have the anger and wrath of Allah lest they were forced. إلا من أكره, lest they were forced to denounce their faith. وَقَلْبُهُ مُطْمَئِنٌ بِالْإِيمَانِ, yet his heart is full of faith. The heart pounds with faith. The heart, when it pushes blood to the entire body, every drop of that blood has faith and has love for Ahlul Bayt. Yet out of force, out of fear, he denounces his faith. إِلَّا مِنْ أُكْرِهَ وَقَلْبُهُ مُطْمَئِنٌ بِالْإِيمَانِ. The Quran says, these people shall have no fear. They shall have no fear. And all scholars of Islam, they agree that this verse was revealed regarding whom? Ammar bin Yasir. Ammar bin Yasir, the companion of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. His parents, Yasir and Sumayya, when they accepted Islam, Quraysh tortured them. They tortured them heavily so that they denounced Islam. Yasir refused. He refused. He was forced to accept the idols of Quraysh, Hubal, Wallat, Al-Uzza. Yet he refused. They killed him in front of Ammar, his son. Sumayya, the first martyr in Islam, who was a female. You know, the first martyr in Islam was a female. The first shaheed in Islam. Sumayya, the mother of Ammar. She was heavily tortured. In front of Ammar, Ammar would see his mother being tortured. They would tell her, say Uzza, say Allat, say Hubal. Accept the gods and the idols of Quraysh. She refused. She kept saying, Ahad, Ahad, Ahad. They killed her. It was time for Ammar bin Yasir. Ammar was heavily tortured when he saw the fate of his father and mother. He said Hubal, he said Uzza. He mentioned the names of their idols. They spared him. They didn't kill him. Ammar came to Rasulullah crying. He thought that this action made him leave Islam and abandon Islam. He came crying, weeping to Rasulullah. Rasulullah told him, what happened? He told him, this is what I did. He told him, I don't care what you said on your tongue. Tell me about your heart. What's in your heart? He said, قَلْبِي مُطْمَئِنٌ بِالْإِيمَانِ. My heart is full of faith. He said, Ya Ammar, what you did was okay. وَإِنْ عَادُوا فَعُدْ. If they come back to you and torture you again, then do the same exact thing. Mention their idols. It's fine. All historians and ulama of tafsir, they mention this story. And they say, Al-Qurtubi is a well-known scholar of tafsir. He says that this is the biggest proof that taqiyya is permissible. If taqiyya is used to save your life, to spare your life, then this is permissible. A person is allowed to conceal his faith, to conceal his beliefs in order to protect his life. This is one verse. Another verse from the Quran. لا يتخذ المؤمنون الكافرين أولياء من دون المؤمنين ومن يفعل ذلك فليس من الله في شيء إلا أن تتقوا منهم تقاته. Believers shall not take disbelievers as allies. There's some people, they explain this verse as friends. لا يتخذ المؤمنون الكافرين أولياء. They define awliya as friends. This is incorrect. This is incorrect. Awliya does not mean friends. They say, see, the Quran says that Muslims cannot have non-Muslims as friends. Is this true? No. You all have non-Muslims as friends. I have non-Muslims as friends. We all do. The Quran does not say that Muslims cannot have non-Muslims as friends. Awliya means allies. Allies, like a political alliance. Min dun al-mu'minin. Meaning, a believer cannot become an ally with a non-believer and abandon his fellow Muslims and fellow believers. Meaning, he works with a non-Muslim against whom? Against Muslims. Against fellow Muslims. Like we see some countries today. We see some countries in the Middle East. They're willing to work with non-Muslims against their fellow Muslims. They support terrorism, they kill, they export terrorists, and they fund with their money of oil. Yet they say we denounce terrorism. And we are against terrorism. Anyhow, and then the verse says, إِلَّا أَن تَتَّقُوا مِنْهُمْ تُقَاتًا. Lest you perform taqiyya. Lest you protect yourself. Lest you are protecting your lives. So what do? You pretend that they are your allies, but in reality they are not. In reality they're not. This is a form of taqiyya. In fact, the word taqiyya is mentioned. إِلَّا أَن تَتَّقُوا مِنْهُمْ تُقَاتًا. Sunni scholars here say that it is permissible to show that you are friends, to show that you're an ally to non-believers, while in reality, no, they are not your friends. This is proof of taqiyya. Another verse. وَقَالَ رَجُلٌ مُؤْمِنٌ مِّنْ آلِ فِرْعَوْنَ يَكْتُمُ إِيمَانَهُ. This verse is speaking about Habib al-Najjar, who was one of the family members of Fir'aun. This person, Musa's mother, when Fir'aun decided to kill all of the children, because some, when a Jameen told him, those that look in the stars and can tell the future, they told him that this year a child will be born that will kill you, that will lead to your destruction. So what did Fir'aun do? He decided to kill all of the children that were born that year, all of the boys. Musa's mother, she went to a carpenter and told him to make me a box, a small box. She said, why? He said, why? She said, it's none of your business. Make me a box. He made her a box. She wanted to put Musa in this box and put him in the river. Habib al-Najjar, this carpenter, he followed Musa's mother. He wanted to see what will she do with the box. She saw that she put Musa, this child, in a box, and she put him in a river, and the river came to whom? They brought the box to whom? To Fir'aun's mansion. Habib al-Najjar immediately came to Fir'aun. He wanted to tell him that this is the child that you've been looking for. This is the child that because of him you killed thousands of other children. He came into the palace of Fir'aun. He knocked at the door. The guards told him, Fir'aun is busy. What do you want? He said, I have very important news. They brought him in. He came in front of Fir'aun. He was about to talk. He couldn't talk. He couldn't talk. He wanted to say something, but his tongue wouldn't bring sounds. They told him he had something important to say, huh? They took him outside. As soon as he came outside, he was able to talk. He said, bring me back in. They told him, we were just in right now, and you didn't talk. He said, yes, but now I'm able to talk. They brought him back in, he couldn't talk again. This was a miracle from Allah. Allah wanted to save Musa. Again, he came out. As soon as he came out, he was able to talk. They took him a third time. Of course, he had to beg and plead. They brought him a third time, he couldn't talk. This time, they gave him a good beating. They told him, you think Fir'aun has nothing to do other than you come and you can't talk in front of him? They gave him a good beating and he left. When he left, he discovered that Musa is what? Is protected by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And he became a believer. He accepted Islam and he became a believer. From that day, he became a believer. When Fir'aun wanted to kill Musa many years later, when the story of the Coptic, he killed a Coptic, he killed an Egyptian. Habib al-Najjar, he came, of course he was a Muslim. He had faith, but he concealed his faith. The Quran says, وَقَالَ رَجُلٌ مُؤْمِنٌ مِّنْ آلِ فِرْعَوْنَ يَكْتُمُ إِيمَانًا. And the believer from the Pharaoh's family said, who would conceal his faith, he would conceal his faith. Meaning he would do what? He would practice what? Taqiyya. He would practice taqiyya. He had faith, yet he would practice taqiyya. He would conceal his faith. The Quran does not call him a hypocrite for concealing his faith. Like some of our Sunni brothers today, they call us hypocrites for practicing taqiyya. The Quran not only says that he is not a hypocrite, he calls him a mu'min. He's a believer. Yet he would conceal his faith. This is a third verse. A fourth verse. Ibrahim alayhi salam. Ibrahim alayhi salam, when he destroyed the idols, when he killed the idols, they asked him, "Man fa'ala hadha bi'alihatina ya Ibrahim?" What did he say? He said, "I did it." قالوا من فعل هذا بآلهتنا يا إبراهيم؟ قال بل فعله كبيرهم فاسألوهم إن كانوا ينطقون. The big idol did it. He didn't say me. He said the big idol. And he went and he put the axe on the neck of the big idol, the biggest idol. He said he did it. This big idol killed the rest of the idols. He didn't say I did it. This was what? What do you call this? This was taqiyya. A prophet of Allah in the Quran is cited to perform taqiyya. No one says this is hypocrisy. No one calls Ibrahim a hypocrite, even though he was practicing taqiyya. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. In the Sunnah of Rasulullah, we see several instances in which Rasulullah supports taqiyya, supports the use of taqiyya, concealing your faith in order to protect your life. During the time of Rasulullah, there was a man who claimed to be a prophet. His name was Musaylama al-Kadhdhab. Musaylama the liar, because he was lying. He was not an actual prophet. Musaylama al-Kadhdhab, one day he saw two men, two Muslims, two of the companions of Rasulullah. He told them, "Do you bear witness that I am the messenger of Allah?" One of them said no. He said, "No, you're a liar." Musaylama grabbed that man and he killed him. The other man, when he saw his friend being killed, he told him, "Do you bear witness that I am Rasulullah?" He said, "Yes, I do bear witness. I bear witness." When he bared witness that he is the messenger, he let him free. That companion came to Rasulullah crying. He told him, "Ya Rasulullah, I did a big sin. I committed a big mistake. My friend didn't lie, but he was killed. I lied. I proclaimed that he's a prophet. He saved me." Rasulullah told him, "That's fine. That's fine. Do you actually believe that he's a prophet?" He said, "No." He said, "Khalas, you're fine. You're safe. As long as in your heart you don't accept him. You only said it on your tongue. This is fine." This is taqiyya. This is mentioned in both Sunni sources and Shia sources. This is not just in Shia sources. Al-Qurtubi, others, the famous scholars of tafsir, they mention this story. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. We come to the Sahaba of Rasulullah. We see in several instances that the Sahaba of Rasulullah would practice taqiyya. They would conceal their faith. Abu al-Darda, one of the companions of Rasulullah, he was quoted saying in Sunni sources, whatever I'm bringing you is from Sunni sources. It's not from Shia sources. Abu al-Darda was quoted saying that we, some of us, the Sahaba, we smile in the faces of some, yet our hearts curse them. Our hearts curse them. We smile on their face. We smile to them. We pretend that they are our friends. But in reality, our hearts curse them. This is taqiyya. This means that he's concealing his emotions. He's concealing his feelings. He's concealing his faith. Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, one of the famous Sahaba, of Rasulullah. He was quoted saying that I will say whatever it takes to repel the evil of the sultan from me. That means if the sultan, if the ruler, if the king, if the emperor, if the khalifa wants to hurt me, I will say whatever it takes to remove that evil, to repel that evil. Meaning he will practice what? Taqiyya. That means he will say whatever it takes so that he doesn't get punished, so that he doesn't get killed, so that he doesn't get hurt. Al-Hasan al-Basri, well-known Sunni scholar, well-known Sunni figure, well-known figure from the Tabi'een, not from the Sahaba, but from the second generation of Muslims. He was quoted saying that Taqiyya is permissible until the Day of Judgment. Why does he say until the Day of Judgment? Because Sunnis, they also accept Taqiyya. They admit that Taqiyya is permissible, but they say it was only permissible during the early stages of Islam, during the days of Mecca, during the days of Quraysh, when Muslims were persecuted. But after the migration to Medina, Taqiyya ended. Hasan al-Basri says that Taqiyya exists and is legitimate until the Day of Judgment. Until the Day of Judgment. Abdullah ibn Umar, the son of Umar ibn al-Khattab, he would practice Taqiyya. He gave allegiance to Yazid, the dictator of his time, the tyrant of his time, out of Taqiyya. And in fact, he told Imam Hossein, if you rise against Yazid, he will kill you. Thus I give you advice to give him allegiance. Even if you don't really believe in him, give him allegiance. That means Taqiyya. And he practiced Taqiyya. He gave allegiance. Abu Hurairah was banned from saying a hadith by Umar ibn al-Khattab. Umar ibn al-Khattab, once he hit Abu Hurairah. He hit him with a durra. He had a stick. Umar ibn al-Khattab had a stick called a durra. He would hit people with it. He would hit people with it. You know, one of the people that he hit was Abu Bakr's sister, Farwa. When Abu Bakr died, he had a sister by the name of Farwa. Farwa would cry over her brother. He came and he hit her. He hit her. He told him, no, you shall not cry over the dead. You can't cry over the dead. One of the people that he would hit was Abu Hurairah. He told him, you narrate too many ahadith. Where did you get these ahadith from? Thus, Abu Hurairah would only narrate when Umar is not there. He would look. He would make sure that Umar is not there. He would say a hadith by Rasulullah. Isn't this Taqiyya? He would practice Taqiyya with Umar ibn al-Khattab. Thus, these are the Sahaba. These are well-known figures that our Sunni brothers and sisters revere and respect. They would practice Taqiyya. صلوا على محمد وعلى محمد.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
As for the Ahlul Bayt, we see that the Ahlul Bayt, they encourage Taqiyya. They encourage Taqiyya. They would practice Taqiyya themselves. Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam would come after the death of Rasulullah. He would come to the masjid and he would pray behind the khulafa. He would pray behind the khulafa. Read al-Ihtijaj. Read al-Kafi. Read Bihar al-Anwar. You will see, we have a hadith that say Amir al-Mu'mineen would pray behind so-and-so. He would pray behind them. Why? Because he believed in them? He accepted them? No, of course not. He never accepted them as khulafa. Yet he would pray behind them out of taqiyya, for unity's sake. And Imam Ali himself would say, وَأَمَّا السَّبْ فَسُبُّونِي وَأَمَّا الْبَرَاءَةَ فَلَا تَتَبَرَّؤُوا مِنِّي فَإِنِّي وُلِدْتُ عَلَى الْفِطْرَةِ. He would say, if you have to curse me, curse me. If you are forced to curse me, then curse me. You don't have to kill yourself. You know, many people were killed because they refused to curse Imam Ali alayhi salam. Muawiyah, he would force many to curse Imam Ali. And if they wouldn't, he would kill them. Like whom? Like Hujr ibn Adi. Everyone knows Hujr ibn Adi. Remember, in Syria, just about a year ago, or maybe more than a year and a half ago, they dug his grave and they blew up his shrine. Hujr ibn Adi, how was he killed by Muawiyah? Because he refused to curse Ali ibn Abi Talib. While Imam Ali alayhi salam, he gives permission. He says, وَأَمَّا السَّبْ فَسُبُّونِي. If you have to curse me, if you have to swear at me, then do so. Out of taqiyya. To save your life, then do so. Imam Ali would permit his companions to practice taqiyya. And in al-ihtijaj, he says to one of his companions, he says, إِيَّاكَ ثُمَّ إِيَّاكَ أَن تَتْرُكَ التَّقِيَّ الَّتِي أَمَرْتُكَ بِهَا. I warn you, and I warn you again, do not abandon taqiyya. The taqiyya that I ordered you to practice. فَإِنَّكَ إِن تَرَكْتَ الْعَمَلَ بِهَا إِنَّكَ شَائِطٌ بِدَمِكَ وَبِدَمِ إِخْوَانِكَ. If you abandon taqiyya, you will set your life in danger and the lives of your brothers in danger. You're setting the lives of your brothers in danger. وَكَانَ ضَرَرُكَ عَلَيْنَا أَشَدُّ مِنَ النَّاصِبِ لَنَا. And you will be more dangerous to us than the nawasib. Than the nawasib. You will be more dangerous to us. This is Imam Ali alayhi salam. Al-Imam al-Baqir would say, التقية ديني ودين آبائي ولا دين لمن لا تقية له. Taqiyya is my faith, my religion, and the religion of my fathers. That means we would all practice taqiyya. We would conceal our faith. We would conceal our faith. Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam, he would say, لا إيمان لمن لا تقية له. A person who does not practice taqiyya does not have faith. Al-taqiyya حسن المؤمن. Taqiyya is the shield of a mu'min. That protects a mu'min. How does a mu'min protect himself? Through taqiyya. And in fact, Imam al-Sadiq, when we study the lives of all of the Imams, we will see that Imam al-Sadiq was the most that practiced taqiyya. He practiced taqiyya. One day he was seen breaking his fast on the last day of Ramadan, on the 30th of Ramadan. His companions, they told him, Ya Rasulullah, what are you doing? Today is still Ramadan and you're eating. Why did he break his fast? Because the Khalifa of that time, he announced that day is the day of Eid. That day is the day of Eid. Imam al-Sadiq had to break his fast. He was seen eating. He said, لَأَفْطُرُ يَوْمًا وَأَقْضِيَهُ أَحَبُّ إِلَيَّ مِنْ أَن تُضْرَبْ عُنَقِي. It is better for me to break my fast one day and make it up than to have my neck be cut off. Isn't this taqiyya? He would break his fast out of taqiyya and make it up later on. And there's no harm. There's no punishment. He would enter upon Al-Mansur al-Abbasi, the dictator, the tyrant of his time. How would Imam Sadiq greet him? He would say, Assalamu alayka ya Amir al-Mu'mineen. Peace be upon you, O the Amir of all believers. I mean, Imam Sadiq believed that Al-Mansur was Amir al-Mu'mineen? Of course not. He was doing this to save his life and the lives of his Shia, the life of his followers. One day Imam al-Sadiq was sitting in a majlis, and there were all kinds of people, some of his followers and others. He was asked, Ya Imam al-Sadiq, Ibn Rasulullah, what do you think about Umar and Abu Bakr? Of course, this is a very controversial topic. If the Imam praises them, this is a problem. If he denounces them, then he sets his life and the lives of his Shia in danger. What did the Imam say? He said, لا نعلم منهم إلا خيرا. We don't know any bad things about them. The only things that we know about them are good. This is taqiyya, obviously. The Imam was saying taqiyya, he was practicing taqiyya. Of course, some of his companions, they were very upset. They got up and they left. How can he say, إِنَّا لَا نَعْلَمُ مِنْهُمْ إِلَّا خِيرًا? How can he praise them? But these companions, they had no foresight. They didn't realize what the Imam was doing. The Imam could have immediately cursed them. But what would have happened? All of them would have been killed, including the Imam. The Imam was protecting his life and the life of his companions. He was preserving Shi'ism. In fact, taqiyya was so practiced that even rulings, Islamic rulings, were influenced by taqiyya. Islamic rulings were influenced by taqiyya. A man would come to Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam, and when he, for example, he would say, what do you think about praying with your hands crossed. He would say that's good. Salah is accepted. Someone else would come and ask Imam Sadiq, what do you think about crossing our hands in Salah? He would say no. That's why we see that in our ahadith, the ahadith of Imam Sadiq, there's lots of contradictions. Why are there contradictions? The Imam is a liar? Nastaghfiru billah. The Imam doesn't know the ahkam? No, he does. But in some cases, because he knew he had spies at his house, there were agents of al-Mansur, he had to practice taqiyya. He couldn't give the correct ruling. He had to practice taqiyya. He was asked, for example, what do you say about a man that divorces his wife 3 times in one gathering? He said that's fine. In another question, someone else would ask him the same question, he would say no. That talaq, that divorce is batil, it's not accepted. You see? We have a lot of contradictions. And the contradictions between the hadith of Imam Sadiq is because of taqiyya. In one answer he gives the correct answer, and the other answer is because of taqiyya. Thus, we have a way to solve the problem with contradicting a hadith. Imam Sadiq tells us, he says, if there's 2 ahadith that contradict each other, which one should you take? Which one should you take? The one that disagrees with Ahlul Sunnah. The one that disagrees with Ahlul Sunnah, take it. Because the one that agrees with Ahlul Sunnah was most likely uttered and stated because of taqiyya. خُذْ مَا خَالَفَ الْعَامَّ فَإِنَّ الرُّشْدَ فِي خِلَافِهِمْ. Because of taqiyya. You see what sort of lives our Imams lived? What sort of danger they lived? How they had to be secretive and how they had to conceal their faith? صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. Some ask, why do you followers of Ahlul Bayt practice taqiyya so much? Why is taqiyya associated with you? Right now when you hear the word taqiyya, who do you think of? Sunnis or Shi'is? Shia, of course. You always hear of Shi'as. Taqiyya and Shia are always associated together. Why? Why do Shi'as conceal their faith? Why do we encourage people to conceal their faith? Why? You know why? Because from the day that Rasulullah was martyred, and that is today, we commemorate the martyrdom of Rasulullah today. From the day that Rasulullah was martyred, up till today, as I speak to you right now, the followers of Ahlul Bayt are being killed. And they are being massacred. And they are being persecuted. The very first victims was Fatima al-Zahra alayhi salam. In fact, the very first victim was whom? Rasulullah himself was a victim. He was a victim. And there are some scholars today that believe Rasulullah did not die a regular death. Yet he was poisoned. And if some have a doubt, the Quran erases this doubt. The Quran says, أَفَإِنْ مَاتَ وَمَا مُحَمَّدٌ إِلَّا رَسُولٌ قَدْ خَلَتْ مِنْ قَبْلِهِ الرُّسُلُ أَفَإِنْ مَاتَ أَوْ قُتِلْ انقلبتم على عقابكم. The Quran gives room to doubt that there is a chance Rasulullah could be killed. Who's the killer? Taqiyya. The very first victim was Rasulullah, and then Fatima al-Zahra and her fetus Muhsin. These were the very first victims. Amir al-Mu'mineen was a victim. His companions were victims. How many companions were killed by Muawiyah? How many? Muhammad ibn Abi Bakr, Malik al-Ashtar, Hujr ibn Adi, Rushayd al-Hajari, Maytham al-Tammar, and others and others and others. Ammar bin Yasir. These were all killed. They did not die regular deaths. The Ahlul Bayt, which one of them died a regular death? Tell me. Which one of them? None of them. They were all either killed or poisoned. ما منا, Imam Zayn al-Abidin alayhi salam says, ما منا إلا مسموم ومقتول. We have always been persecuted. We have always been killed. And it doesn't stop there. Zayd ibn Ali ibn al-Hussein. Zayd, the son of Imam Zayn al-Abidin, he was killed. The progeny of Imam al-Hasan, they were all killed. There's a book called Maqatil al-Talibiyin by Abu al-Faraj al-Asfahani. Maqatil al-Talibiyin means those that were killed from the progeny of Abu Talib. From the progeny of Abu Talib. Thousands that were killed at the hands of Bani Umayyah and Bani al-Abbas and even the Ottomans. Even the Ottomans. Sultan Salim killed over 40,000 Shia and followers of Ahlul Bayt. These were the Ottomans. How many Shia have been killed in history? Has there ever been a school of followers of any school of thought that have been killed like the followers of Ahlul Bayt? Tell me. Were Buddhists killed like Shia? Or Hindus? Or Zoroastrians? Or Christians and Jews? No one has been massacred like the followers of Ahlul Bayt until today. Look at today. Look at what the Taliban did in Afghanistan. How many Shia did they kill in Afghanistan? Thousands that were murdered at the hands of the barbarians, Taliban. Saddam Hussein, how many did he kill in Iraq? How many followers of Ahlul Bayt? Just the Iran-Iraq war had over millions of casualties from both sides. How many scholars did he kill? How many scholars and mujtahids and ayatollahs did he kill? From a shaheed, Sayyid Muhammad Baqir al-Sad, to a shaheed, Sayyid Muhammad Sadiq al-Sad, to the Hakim family, to Bahr al-Ulum family. My own grandfather, Ayatollah Sayyid Muhammad Sadiq al-Qazwini, is the oldest political prisoner. He was taken at the age of 80 and he was never seen again. And he died in the prisons of Saddam. How many did Saddam kill? Today, did it end with Saddam? Today, how many people are being killed in Iraq and in other places? And in Pakistan, just 2 days ago in Peshawar, at the hands of Taliban. How many did they kill? And those school children, those 120, most likely they were what? Many of them were Shia. In Afghanistan, every day you hear about casualties. In Iraq, every day you hear about casualties. How many people were killed at the hands of ISIS? How many? Just in one air base called Spiker Air Base, over 1,700 young men, young Shia men, were brutally killed at the hands of ISIS. Do you blame us for practicing taqiyya? Do you blame us for concealing our faith? Do you blame us for hiding our faith? Of course not. We, the followers of Ahlul Bayt, have always been in danger. We have always been attacked and killed. We have always been a minority. There have always been fatwas against us. There's no other school of thought or religion there's a fatwa against them. Have you ever seen from Saudi Arabia a fatwa against Buddhists or Hindus or Christians? No. The fatwa is always against Shias and followers of Ahlul Bayt. Every day there's a new fatwa. So do you blame us? Every day they're killing us. Every day we're being massacred and killed. I was telling some that we Shias, we are endangered humans. We are endangered species. You know, the world, especially the West, in America, in Europe, they care about endangered animals. Tigers, bears, pandas. These endangered animals the whole world cares about. We Shias are endangered humans. No one cares. And in Iraq, after the invasion of ISIS, the United States, they came in to help whom? The Shia? No, they came in to help the Yazidis and the Christians. And the Pope, when he spoke to defend whom? The Christians, not the Shia. This, you cannot blame us. Every day we're being martyred and killed and massacred. No one blames us for practicing taqiyya. And these numbers that we see today, we're alive today because of taqiyya, my dear brothers and sisters. Believe me. If it wasn't for our imams, and if it wasn't for our ulama and scholars that urged us and forced us and encouraged us to practice taqiyya, these few Shia that exist today, we would have also been wiped out. But it was taqiyya that helped us remain alive and be preserved. If it wasn't for taqiyya, we would have been wiped out. And we see that our scholars, our top scholars, they encourage us to practice taqiyya. Why? To preserve Shi'ism. So that our children can remain being Shia and can remain following the school of thought of Ahlul Bayt. This is the reason. Out of protection. Our top scholars encourage us to practice taqiyya. As-Sayyid al-Sistani, hafidhahullah, in Iraq, for the past 10 years, he encourages us to practice taqiyya. He encourages us to have unity. Why? Just to protect our lives. Just to protect us. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Do Sunnis practice taqiyya? Do they practice taqiyya? Well, first of all, Sunnis, they do not need to practice taqiyya. Are their lives in danger? Have there ever been a massacre against Sunnis in history? Yes, there might be a couple killed here, a couple killed there. Maybe the innocent ones have been killed by some that did not listen to the calls of the Marji'iyyah. But they've never been massacred. Sunnis have always been the majority. They were never the minority. They have always been in power. Even when they're the minority, they were in power. Like Iraq. In Iraq, Sunnis were the minority, that they were in power. Have you ever heard of such a thing? This only occurs in the Middle East. Can such a thing ever occur in Europe when a minority rules the majority? In Bahrain, the majority are whom? Shia, but the minority are ruling. Even when they're the minority, they're still in power. Thus, they don't need to practice taqiyya. Taqiyya is for protection. They never needed to protect themselves because they were never in danger. Not by the Shia, at least. The Shia were never a threat to the Sunnis. Throughout history, we were never a threat to the Sunnis. We never committed atrocities and massacres against the Sunnis. But the opposite is not true. Yes, there are some cases in which Sunnis practice taqiyya, but not against Shia, against themselves. They did practice taqiyya, but against themselves. For example, during the days of Al-Ma'mun, Al-Ma'mun was approximately during the time of Imam al-Rida alayhi salam. Al-Ma'mun had a specific view on the Quran. I don't wish to go into details because it's quite complicated. He had a specific view on the Quran. And he would enforce his views on others. Those who disagreed with him, he would persecute them, beat them, put them to jail, and maybe even kill them. Thus, there were some scholars, first they disagreed with him, like Ahmad ibn Hanbal. Ahmad ibn Hanbal first disagreed with Al-Ma'mun. He had a different opinion. Then when he was beaten and put into jail, again he was asked about his opinion, he conformed to the opinion of Al-Ma'mun. He practiced taqiyya. He wanted to live. He wanted to stay alive, he practiced taqiyya. But you see, it wasn't a taqiyya against Shia. Sunnis never needed to use taqiyya against Shia. They needed to use a taqiyya against others, with others. This was one case. Another case was during the 16th century in Spain. You know, Spain, for a while, it was ruled by whom? By Muslims. But in 1492, Muslims were kicked out of Spain by King Ferdinand. They were kicked out. There were some that remained in Spain. But when they remained in Spain, they couldn't practice being Muslims out in public. They had to conceal their faith. Those who remained in Spain as Muslims and practiced their faith, they had to conceal their faith. Specifically in the 16th century, the government would go home to force Muslims to convert into Christianity. There were some that did not convert, but they concealed their faith. There were some Sunni scholars that allowed the Muslims to practice taqiyya, to pretend that they are Christian, while in reality they were Muslim. This is taqiyya. That's when they tell you that Sunnis don't practice taqiyya. No, they do. They do practice taqiyya. Read history and you will find many cases in which Sunnis also practice taqiyya. But I emphasize that it wasn't against the Shia. صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. Is there a form of taqiyya that is not just to protect your life? Should taqiyya be practiced even if your life is not in danger? Yes. We have a taqiyya called at-taqiyya al-mudaratiyya, or unity taqiyya, so to speak. And our scholars believe in this, and they accept this form of taqiyya. This taqiyya is not to save your life. Your life might not be in danger. For example, here in Holland, you go to a mosque, your life is not in danger. No one will dare kill you here because they'll be punished. No one will dare to punish you, but it's good to practice taqiyya. Meaning, go to their mosques, go to Sunni mosques, pray with them, sit with them, eat with them, go to their homes. This is a form of taqiyya that brings people's hearts closer. At the end of the day, they are our brothers and sisters. As long as they say the shahadatain and they are Muslim, they are our brothers and sisters. And we have to remember, my dear friends, we have to remember that we Muslims, we have a common enemy. We have a common enemy that wants to destroy us. We have a country called Israel that wishes to destroy us and divide us. ISIS is a common enemy. There are some countries that purposely wish to divide us so that they can easily conquer us. That's the simple rule of divide and conquer. Yesterday, or the day before yesterday, I was reading in the New York Times. As I was flying from Najaf to Amsterdam. I was reading a newspaper in the New York Times. Beautiful article by Dr. Veli Nasr. Dr. Veli Nasr, who is the author of the Shia Revival. Very good book. And I advise my brothers and sisters to read this book, the Shia Revival. He had an article and he said that it's about time for the United States of America to change its strategy in the Middle East. Instead of dividing, they should unite. This tells you what? And this person is an expert on American foreign policy. This tells you that it has been American foreign policy to divide Muslims. Divide. Create division among Muslim countries. Specifically two main countries. Saudi Arabia and Iran. They come and they sell weapons to Saudi Arabia. Have you noticed how much weapons Saudi Arabia buys from America? To fight whom? Israel? Have you ever seen Saudi Arabia fights Israel? They're saving these weapons for whom? For their own Muslims. For their own brothers and sisters. Thus they are encouraged. This division is encouraged. We need to wake up, my dear brothers and sisters. We need to wake up that we have a common enemy that wishes to divide us. There are those that wish to divide us. Let's wake up. We need to unite. Instead of paying attention to those who wish to divide us, let's unite. And we see that the Ahlul Bayt emphasized on this. They say that even if your life is not in danger, even if your wealth is not in danger, go for the sake of unity, so that you're not divided, so that you remain strong. The hadith says, من صلى معهم في الصف الأول كان كمن صلى خلف رسول الله في الصف الأول. He who goes and prays behind them in the first row. Don't go stand in the final row. Go stand in the first row. He who stands in the first row, it's as if he's praying behind Rasulullah in the first row. In another hadith, كن أول داخل وآخر خارج. Be the first person to enter their mosque and the last person to leave their mosque. عودوا مرضاهم صلوا في جنائزهم اشهدوا لهم وعليهم وصلوا معهم. Visit their sick, Imam Sadiq says. Go visit their sick. You know some brothers and sisters that are in the hospital, go visit them. One of them performed a surgery, go visit him at his home. Do you know how much this brings hearts closer? Especially if he knows that you're a Shia. Especially if he knows that you're a follower of Ahlul Bayt. Go and visit them. If there's a funeral, there's a janazah, go and participate. This is not from me. Don't say that Sayyid Hossein said this. Imam al-Sadiq says this. Go and participate in their funeral, in their burial, in their janazah. Go to their homes. Go pray behind them. Yes, there are some details, laws about how to pray with them. But generally, go pray in their mosques for the sake of unity. And today there are some scholars, they tell their followers, some scholars of Ahlul Bayt, they say when you go to Saudi Arabia, when you go to some certain Sunni countries, go to their mosques. Go pray with them, sit with them, speak with them. Show your akhlaq. Show the akhlaq of Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam. Because when you do so, they will say, may Allah bless Imam al-Sadiq. This is how he trained his followers. He gave a good example. He was a good example for his followers. But when we behave badly, they will say, may Allah curse Imam al-Sadiq. This is how he raised his followers and supporters. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad.
And finally, some ask, is today a time of taqiyya or the time of taqiyya has ended? Some say that the time of taqiyya has ended. Today we need to speak the truth out in the open, publicly. We need to announce our beliefs. There are some individuals that we need to denounce them and curse them in public. Because today there's no room for taqiyya. Today the Shia are everywhere and our life is no longer in danger, and we need to speak out in public and let the world know the truth. Is this correct, my dear friends? You see, today some people might be sitting comfortably and not in danger in some countries. Today here in Holland and Amsterdam, you could say whatever you'd like. Behind the minbar, on the minbar, behind the podium, on Facebook, on Twitter. Come out and say whatever you want on satellite channels. Your life is not in danger. Your life is not in danger. But the people in Iraq, their lives are not in danger. The people in Pakistan, their lives are not in danger. The people of Afghanistan, their lives are not in danger. Some say that we Shia were already being killed, whether we speak or don't speak, whether we curse or don't curse, whether we speak in public or we don't. We're already being killed. Yes, this is true. This is true. We are already being killed. But you know what you do? When you curse in public, when you attack their figures in public, you know what you're doing? You're adding fuel to the fire. There's already a fire. There's already a fire. What you do is you're adding fuel to it. You're making it bigger. You're making it bigger. And there are some that come out. There are some Wahhabis and Nawasib, they came out and they said, we are killing you because of such and such. Because you said such and such. Today is still a time of taqiyya, my dear friends. It's still a time of taqiyya. One of the Imams, I believe Imam al-Hadi, was asked, Ya ibn Rasulullah, up till when do we practice taqiyya? He said, until the day of judgment. Until the day of judgment. Or in another hadith, he said, you will practice taqiyya until qiyam al-qa'im, until the last imam comes. Until the final imam reappears, and then there's no more taqiyya. Very explicit. And another hadith, إِنَّمَا جُعِلَتِ التَّقِيَّةِ لِيُحْقَنُ بِهَا الْدَمِ. Taqiyya was legislated to protect blood. Today, is Shia blood being spilt or no? Of course it is. Maybe not here. Maybe not in Europe, maybe not in America, maybe not in Australia, but in Iraq. I'll tell you, because I live in Iraq. Go to some places in Iraq, as soon as they know that you're Shia, your life is in danger. They will kill you, just based on who you are. That's it. You know, sometimes you don't even need to know, you don't even need to tell them that you're Shia. Your name, if your name is Ali, Hossein, Abbas, let alone Abd al-Zahra, or Abd al-Mahdi, or Abd al-Hussein. You'll be killed based on your name. Certainly this is a time for taqiyya. No doubt about it. Yes, this doesn't mean that we should sacrifice our beliefs. Have your firm belief. Love those who loved Allah. Love our Imams and Ahlul Bayt. And those who were their enemies, hate them and curse them. But in your hearts, not in public. Don't come out in public and put your life in danger and the lives of others in danger. We have bara'ah. We have al-bara' min a'da'illah. Yet within the limits that the Ahlul Bayt gave us. The Ahlul Bayt who taught us about bara'ah, they also taught us about taqiyya. You know, even in Ziyarat Ashura, some say, well, Imam al-Sadiq, he curses. Imam al-Sadiq, he curses. I say, yes, but did he mention names? He didn't mention names. He said the first, the second, the third. He mentioned numbers. He didn't mention names. This is taqiyya. Let's be careful, my dear friends. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Tonight and today we commemorate the martyrdom of the greatest man in history. The man whom had the greatest akhlaq and manners. A man who stood out for his akhlaq and manners and for his mercy. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi was a mercy for all mankind, for all humankind. إنما أرسلناك رحمة وما أرسلناك إلا رحمة للعالمين. You're a mercy for all human beings, not just for Muslims, not just for followers of Ahlul Bayt. Indeed, Rasulullah was a mercy. He had such great akhlaq. As his death was approaching, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi one day came to the masjid and he said, Ayyuhan nas, O people, my death is coming close. My death is approaching. And if I have harmed someone, if I have ever hurt someone, let him come and tell me. And if he wishes to take revenge, he may take revenge. Everyone was silent. Who have I wronged? Who have I oppressed? Let him come and tell me so that he may seek revenge. Everyone was silent except one man by the name of Sawada. He said, Ya Rasulullah, yes, you oppressed me one day. One day you were hitting with your stick, you were hitting your camel so that it walks, so that it goes. You were hitting your camel, accidentally you hit me. You hit me, you hit my stomach. And today I want to take revenge from you. Rasulullah told him, okay, come up, Ya Sawad. Come and take your vengeance. He told him, you can hit me. He said, Ya Rasulullah, but I want to hit you with the same stick that you hit me. He said, Ya Bilal, go and get me my stick. It's with Fatima al-Zahra. Bilal went. He told her, Ya Fatima, give me the stick of Rasulullah. She said, why? She said, because Sawada wants to hit Rasulullah with it. Fatima al-Zahra came crying, Sawada wants to hit my father? She came to see what will happen. Sawada grabbed the stick. He said, but Ya Rasulullah, when I was hit by you, my chest was open and you hit my bare skin. It's not fair for me to hit you with your clothing. Let me hit you on your bare skin. Rasulullah opened his chest. He showed his skin and he gave the stick to Sawada. Sawada was about to hit. Everyone was shocked. People were crying, looking at Rasulullah, the leader of this nation, allowing one of his followers to hit him. When Rasulullah exposed his chest, Sawada threw the stick and he came and he put his cheek on the skin of Rasulullah and he said, Oh Allah, I bear witness. Oh Allah, do not punish me in hellfire for the sake of Rasulullah and for the sake of the skin of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Rasulullah told him, Ya Sawada, do you wish to seek revenge or do you forgive? He said, Ya Rasulullah, I forgive. Rasulullah raised his hand to the sky. He said, Oh Allah, forgive Sawada the same way that he forgave your messenger. Ya Rasulullah, today we're gathered at your majlis. Look upon us, Ya Rasulullah. Today, there's brothers and sisters that drove many hours. Some drove for 2 hours, for 3 hours to come and attend the majlis of Rasulullah. Oh Allah, do not deny them their desires and wishes. They came to this blessed majlis with desires, with certain things in their hearts. Let them go back full-handed, not empty-handed, for the sake of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. On a day like this, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is on his bed. is on his deathbed. Moments he would close his eyes, moments he would open his eyes, and every time he would open his eyes, he would say, "Ayna Habibi Ali ibn Abi Talib? Call me Ali ibn Abi Talib." Amir al-Mu'mineen came to him. Amir al-Mu'mineen grabbed the head of Rasulullah. He put it in his lap. It was his final moments. Rasulullah whispered something in the ear of Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam for 1 hour. For 1 hour they conversed and they cried with each other and they talked with each other. Rasulullah told Amir al-Mu'mineen what will happen after his death. He told Amir al-Mu'mineen exactly what will happen. He told him about the attack on the house. He told him what will happen to his wife Fatima al-Zahra, and he told him he should be patient. Some ask, how did Amir al-Mu'mineen allow those to attack his house? We tell them because Rasulullah told him to be patient. It was the final moments, it was the final hours that Rasulullah is with his family members. Al-Hassan wal Hossein, they came in the presence of Rasulullah. They came and they embraced Rasulullah on his chest. Amir al-Mu'mineen wanted to remove Al-Hassan wal Hussein. Rasulullah said, "No, دعهما يا علي, دعهما يتزودان, أشمهما ويشماني وأتزود منهما." Leave them, Ya Rasul. Leave them, Ya Ali ibn Abi Talib. These are my final moments with my grandchildren, Al-Hassan and Hussein. Let me smell them and they smell me. Let me have enough of them, Ya Ali ibn Abi Talib. All of a sudden, Jibreel came down. It was the final moments of Rasulullah. Rasulullah tells Jibreel, "Ya Jibreel, do you leave me in these moments? Why do you leave me in these moments?" Rasulullah had a request. He had a request. That request was, Ya Jibreel, I want Allah to forgive my nation. I want Allah to give me the power to intercede. Haqq al-shafa'ah. I want to be a shafi' for my nation. Allah revealed this verse. وَلَسَوْفَ يُعْطِيكَ رَبُّكَ فَتَرْضَى. Allah will give you that which will satisfy you. Subhanallah, look at the mercy of Rasulullah. To his final moments, yet he's still thinking about his nation. All of a sudden they heard a knocking at the door. Fatima al-Zahra went to open the door. It was a man with a glowing face. He asked permission to enter the house of Rasulullah. Fatima al-Zahra said, "Ya hadha, inna Rasulullah is ill. This is not a good time." Rasulullah told Fatima, "Let him in. This is a person who never asks permission from anyone. This is the angel of death, Azrael. He's come to take my life." Azrael, Malik al-Maut, comes to Rasulullah. He asks permission from Rasulullah to take his life. Jibreel comes down and he says, "Ya Jibreel, what should I do? What should I say? Should I give permission?" Jibreel says, "Ya Rasulullah, Al-Aliyyu al-A'la yuqri'uka as-salam." Allah sends His peace. The people of Jannah, the angels are waiting for you. Allah is waiting for you. Allah misses you. Rasulullah says, "And I miss my Lord dearly." He gives permission to Azrael to take his life. Azrael begins to take the life of Rasulullah. Rasulullah saw that taking life is very difficult. He saw some pain. He said, "Ya Azrael, is this how you will take the life of my nation, of my ummah?" Azrael said, "Ya Rasulullah, for your nation it will be even more difficult." Rasulullah told him, "Ya Azrael, make it more difficult on me and make it easier on my ummah. Make it easier on my nation." He began to take the life of Rasulullah. Rasulullah faced the Qibla. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأني رسول الله. Amir al-Mu'mineen covered the face of Rasulullah. Moments later, covered the face and Rasulullah had departed this life. أين المنادي ومحمدا ومظلوما ونبيا. People began to shout. Fatima began to cry. She began to shout. Amir al-Mu'mineen began to shout. I say, Ya Rasulullah, we our condolences to your followers, to your progeny, to your nation. But Ya Rasulullah, when you died on a day like this, you died in a humble way. You died in an honorable way. Your daughters were surrounding you. Ali ibn Abi Talib was surrounding you. You died in your home. Ya Rasulullah, you were not surrounded by any enemies. Ya Rasulullah, no soldiers were surrounding you. Ya Rasulullah, your sister was not watching over you. وَلَا يَوْمٌ كَيَوْمِكَ يَا أَبَا عَبْدِ اللَّهِ. Ya Rasulullah, I wish you were in Karbala to watch your grandson Hossein as he was lying on the battleground. His sister Zainab was standing on the hill. She came to see what is happening. She saw that Shimr ibn al-Jawshan is approaching her brother. She saw the enemy soldiers approaching her brother. Zainab alayhi salam began crying, shouting to her brother, Akhi Aba Abdullah, in kunta hayyan, in kunta mayyitan, فأمرنا وأمرك إلى الله وإن كنت حيا فأدركنا. My brother, if you're dead, then what can we do? But if you're alive, come to our rescue. She kept on shouting, yet Imam Hussein could not open his eyes. Finally Zainab said, my brother Hussein, I ask you for the sake of our mother Fatima. When Hussein heard the name of Fatima, he opened his eyes. He said, Sayyida, Ukhayya Zainab, you have broken my heart with the name of Fatima. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون.